All right, we are back. Welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Renew, and we are back in Wales with Richard at Electric Classic Cars, and we've got something quite fantastic, a Testarossa, but we don't have one, we have two of them.
Actually, there's three. There's another one on the left over there.
We'll see them in a minute.
They're everywhere.
Wow, what a journey.
This is probably the most controversial conversion we've done. I've learnt the word sacrilege in like Italian, German, like every language you can imagine.
Yeah. But you made it, you did it, and not only you've converted a few of them, but you actually offer a complete system to convert Testarossas.
Do you know what? When we started converting cars back in 2015, if you said we were going to convert any Ferraris, let alone the Testarossa, and we've done a few and 308s and stuff, I would have laughed at you. But to say we were doing kits, I would have thought, no way. Yeah. But we are. We're actually doing a very comprehensive bolting conversion kit for the Ferrari Testarossa now. But you've got to remember, this car was done, this was made in some decent volumes. I think this is one of the first volume produced Ferraris they made. There's a number of them out there. So yeah, we've got a conversion kit that we're shipping mainly to the States for other workshops to essentially bolt in an electric conversion.
So let's take us to...
You want me to take you through it?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So we start at the business end. You want to go around the back. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll show you what it used to look like. Because this one's just come in, and this is what it used to look like in the back end. So what you've got in here is a flat 12 configuration engine over the top of a gearbox. So the engine actually sits quite high up, but it takes a lot of space. I mean, it goes right the way there, all the way to the back where the exhaust is. So it's, takes up a lot of space, it's a lot of weight, quite high up, but all the weight's behind you. So weight distribution was never fantastic on the Ferrari Testarossas. The weight distribution was actually worse than on 911, believe it or not.
Wow.
Everything was behind you. The fuel tanks, the coolant system, engine, gearbox, exhaust, everything was behind you.
So you decided to get rid of it all?
Well, yeah. So we thought we can make that better. So if I open up this one here now, so now you'll get an idea of the difference in efficiency between an engine and a motor. So I think that was 300 horsepower engine. This is 600 horsepower Tesla motor. And bear in mind, that's the motor there.
Yeah.
This is the gear reduction unit, and that's the electronics. So this is the Tesla performance drive unit flipped over because we wanted to improve the handling as much as possible. So we wanted all the weight in front of the drive shafts. So this is flipped on its back. We've done a load of mods inside for things like the oil pump for it to work on its back, because a motor doesn't mind if it's upside down or not, and the electronics doesn't mind if it's upside down, but the oil in there does. So it's flipped on its back. You've got the main battery pack there, two little battery packs where the fuel tanks used to be underneath, and then there's another battery pack up front to balance the weight out. But this now handles more like a Lotus Elise, which is really nice and nippy and get it into the corners perfect, whereas the old one didn't handle as good as that, and certainly didn't have the power as this one has. But yeah, this is, as I say, a bolting system. So the cradle that holds this motor and battery pack in all bolts onto the original engine mounts here, and also just in front there as well. So it's actually one of the easiest bolting conversion kits we've got, quite frankly, because you've got so much space here as well. Once you take this engine lid off, there's so much space to actually get everything in one go as well.
And there's almost no weight behind the rear axle then?
No, all we've got here is header tanks.
Yeah.
One for the motor and inverter and one for the battery pack. I think the charger's there as well. This is the 7 kilowatt charger. This obviously has CCS as well. So you've got a CCS socket there where the fuel tank, the fuel filler used to be. And it's a 62 kilowatt hour battery pack. I can't remember the range figures on it. I would estimate it's probably around about 150 mile range driving normally.
Well, if you drive it normally.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Grand Tour. So
it's a Grand Tour. Yeah. So the aerodynamics is pretty good on it. It's not like a Land Rover Defender, which doesn't have any aerodynamics. You can't even say it's got bad aerodynamics. It just has no aerodynamics. But this is fairly efficient as far as aerodynamics is concerned. But
Talking about, well, we're still here. Tell us about the suspension, because the weight being completely different.
Oh, yeah.
The
It's
suspension must have been a new complete.
good point.
complete
Yeah.
setup,
Whenever you change the weight distribution of a car, the total weight is the same, by the way, exactly the same as previous. In fact, if I remember rightly, it's about 20 kilos lighter compared to a Testarossa with a full tank of fuel. So it's around about the same, but the weight distribution, as you say, has changed. So we took that opportunity that we were going to change the springs and the shocks anyway for the different weight distribution. We took the opportunity then to upgrade the suspension to semi-active suspension.
Wow. Okay.
So this has a tractive semi-active suspension system, which is the same system that's on a Pagani Zonda. And it's just insanely good. It's a weird setup on the back of Ferrari. You've got two coilover shocks, one here and one there. So there's actually 4 on the rear and then 2 on the front. And yeah, the system is controlled internally, and you can have 5 different setups from soft all the way to hard track mode. But at the same time, because it's semi-active suspension, it's reacting thousands of times a second to the road conditions.
Okay.
So it's got anti-pitch and dive, anti-yaw. So you don't even really need to run anti-roll bars, because it's detecting the fact that, oh, this one here is going down, therefore I'll stiffen it up, sort of thing. So handling wise now, this is so much better than the original petrol one. Not just because of the better weight distribution and the better instant torque of the electric motor, but because we've got that semi-active suspension system on it as well.
So you don't only bring the classic car into modern cars specs, but also on the suspension.
We
point
look
of view.
for any opportunity to improve a car.
Yeah.
So if we're going to convert it to electric, great, that's what we do. But what about the brakes? What about the suspension? What about, you know, all the other aspects of it? Wheels and tyres, good example. If you have a look, for instance, at the wheels and tyres on this one here,
Yeah.
you see we've increased the diameter to 18-inch, and they're wider. Compare it to this one here. These are 15-inch. These are the original Ferrari ones, but you can't get the correct tyres anymore on the original ones. So if you duck down here, you have a look. You have a look at the width of that tyre there. Compare that now to this.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know, we've got a lower profile tyre, so it handles better,
Yeah.
but it's wider, so you can get the power down. But the original wheels, you just can't get the right tyre sizes anymore. So you have to compromise and get a slightly smaller tyre.
Oh, okay.
So it's just not right. So we've gone for these. So again, any opportunity to improve the car from a driving experience. You know, yes, you don't get the brum brum noises anymore. So there is one negative, but there's so many other positives of converting a car like this to electric.
Well, again, it's a point of view. Is it a negative that you don't get the noise? I mean, some people care, some people just don't care at all.
I'm a car guy. I'm not a noise guy. I'm a car guy that wants my cars to go well, handle well, be able to enjoy them regularly, not have to spend tens of thousands of pounds every few years servicing the engine. You know, I want to drive and enjoy these cars. And for me, being a massive ex-petrol head, converting them to electric means I can now enjoy them on a regular, if not daily basis when they're electric. I'll show you what's in the front, because it's important as well when we convert these cars not to detrimentally impact on any of the practicality of the car as well. So it's still got the same amount of luggage space. So that's the boot. Where the spare wheel was underneath is now a battery pack. So that's how we get that weight distribution a little bit further forward as well. And then we've just got the main electrical junction box here, which has got all the control systems in, your relays and fuses just in that box there. So that's the only impact to the luggage space. But we're thinking, because we've got so much space in the rear, to put a boot in the back. So we might do that with that one there. So that's the next one.
And you also bring modern AC and heating.
Yeah, so this has got air conditioning as well. So in fact, if you step this way, we'll show you one that's in build right now. I can show you where the bits are. So there's the compressor. So that's the electric air conditioning compressor.
Yeah.
So that's running all the AC. And there's another part of it. It's down in there, so it'll be in there somewhere. But yeah, I mean, traction control, cruise control, all the modern features that you would hope to see in a modern Ferrari, but it's in a Testarossa shape. And if you came out in the morning and you had a choice between, a Tesla or a Tesla powered Testarossa, Testarossa, let's call it that, then you'll go with this. I mean, these two cars, this one and that one there, are built specifically for our partner, Bbanzhou-electric, that we've partnered with to sell finished cars. Because we provide a service, electric classic cars, converting customers' cars to electric. Whereas we don't have end finished cars to sell.
Yes.
And Bbanzhou-electric have just come up with a great concept to say, well, I tell you what, we'll just order a load of cars from you in batches, and then we'll sell finished cars. So these two Testarossas here are for Bbanzhou-electric, and they're going to be selling them finished. Just people can come in the showroom, test drive them, and drive them away, which is perfect.
And it's fantastic to see where the industry is going, because this business model 2 years ago would not even exist.
Yeah.
And just like, as you said, you now converting Ferraris, and who knows what you'll do in the future. But eventually we could find specialists or even dealerships selling converted to electric classic cars in the future.
Yeah.
In the not so
That's happening
distant
now.
future. Yeah.
Go and have a look at Bbanzhou-electric. They're selling finished electric converted classics. So let's go back over to those. So that's that one in build. And
So how long does it take to do the conversion here?
well, it depends. If it's a car that we've not done before, it can take like up to 2 years, let's say, worst case scenario. But if it's a car that we've done before, that we have a kit for, the fastest we've ever done it in is a day. There's a YouTube episode on our YouTube channel, Electric Classic Cars, where we converted a Beetle in a day. It was fun, but having 6 or 7 guys all working on the car at the same time was manic. But realistically, I'd say to do a Testarossa now with a conversion kit that we've got, you're probably talking a few months from start to finish. But obviously there's a lead time into that because we have a waiting list, if you like, for our workshop. Okay. But if you're experienced in doing it and you've done a few before and you've practiced with a couple of conversions, there's no reason why you can't get it done in a month or 2.
Okay. Which makes even more sense for your partner to sell complete cars, because there would be turnkey, arrive and drive cars.
Yeah, I mean, bear in mind our kits have to be bolt in the UK, which means that when an American workshop buys our kits, they're so simple to put in because they don't have to weld new brackets, they don't have to cut holes here to be. No, it just bolts into the original infrastructure of the car, and then you've got to feed the high voltage cable and the low voltage cable loom through the car and then connect them all up. The instrumentation as well is really important. So if you have a look inside, it's really important for us to make sure that if I switch the car on, and get the back lights to come on. Where's the lights? There we go. So it's really important for us on a number of builds to ensure that the instrumentation looks like the original car. So we've taken the original Ferrari binnacles and sent them off to a partner of ours, Peterson EV, and they have converted the Ferrari dashboard to be more EV orientated. So for instance, instead of rev counter now, we've got amps. The fuel gauge down here is now a battery state of charge gauge, but it all looks exactly the same.
As if Ferrari had done it back in the days.
Exactly, yeah. And down here we haven't got oil pressure and oil temperature and all that. We've now got temperature of the battery, temperature of the motor. So, but we've kept the iconic shifter as well.
Yeah.
So to put it in drive, it's there, and then reverse is down there. So interior-wise, we like to keep it looking all standard as much as possible. We don't like touchscreen iPad type things. It just doesn't sit well in a classic car.
All right.
So you're itching to go out for a spin. I can tell you how that. You just go, shut up. Let's go.
So Richard, one thing I've noticed also on the converted Testa, there is nothing sticking out in the back.
Yeah, well, this always creates a problem on classic cars because there's these things that stick out of the back called poison-like pipes, which they can't have them at the front obviously because all those fumes will go inside. So they've got to have them at the back, otherwise they kill people. But when it's converted to electric, these leave a hole. So what do? So we came up with a solution to do this, which is just extenuate the slats here to fill in the holes. So now it looks pretty much stock and it matches the slats, which is the iconic slats at the back here of the Testarossa.
Does this come with the kit also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Talking about the kit, let's check it out.
You want to see the kit?
Oh, yes.
We've got a kit in build over here. It's raw metal at the moment, but it gives you an idea of what it contains. So this is the subframe. So this is actually the cradle, if you like, that holds the motor. So when we lifted up the engine bay before, you saw the motor here, and there was a battery pack here. This is what holds it all in place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mounting points there, and then this is the main battery pack that then sits on there.
Top, yeah.
And then the motor obviously sits in here, large Tesla drive unit flipped over on its back. Then this is the battery pack that actually sits in the front. So this is, where the spare wheel used to be.
Yeah.
So there's no spare wheel in it, but no modern cars have had spare wheels for decades now. So that's the front one. And then
you use modern tires like Pilot Pros.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and you can have tire foam, etc. And then these are the 2 small battery packs which go up into where the fuel tank used to be. There's actually 2 fuel tanks used to be on the.
Carry on.
So there used to be 2 fuel tanks on the Testarossa, and these are the small battery packs that go up into those mounts. And again, they mount onto the same points as the original fuel tanks did, and we're making sure that the weight of these isn't any more than the original fuel tank would be with a full tank of fuel. And then you got your loom. This is the low voltage loom. I'm not going to show everything today, but this is essentially your low voltage loom is all done. Cut to length with all the connectors on and your Deutsch connectors and all your things that you need on it, and all you need to do is mount that or lay it into the car and then connect it all up and plug it in. Yeah. All the programming is done of the battery packs, the commissioning and programming of the motors, everything's done.
Excellent. So again, bolt on, plug in, drive it.
True plug and play. Yeah.
Going back to the original drivetrain, off camera, you were telling me most people actually get rid of the original motor and gearbox.
Yes.
Yes, they don't anticipate to convert it back to original.
I mean, bear in mind, you can reverse it back to petrol if you want, because everything's bolt in, but we've not had a single customer yet that has either kept the original drivetrain or reversed it.
Okay.
Because if you're diving into such a commitment as converting a Ferrari to electric, the chances are you've made that choice. You're not going to go back. So yeah, the Testarossa engines for those 2 over there, they have been sold to Ferrari specialists, so they're going back into the classic car world, which again is great. Recycling, and it's keeping another car on the road, which is what's important. And I don't think the third Ferrari guy is keen on keeping his either, so we've got to put that up for sale soon. Okay. So anybody want any Ferrari Testarossa engines?
All right. So Richard, this is a fairly modern car as far as a classic car. And I know you typically stop converting cars around the mid-80s, and this is a late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
So why did you do an exception for this?
You can't say no to a Testarossa, can you, Jerome? Yeah. I mean, you're right. We normally stop when plastic dashboards became a thing, but when somebody said Testarossa, I thought, well, Testarossa and the Countach were my 2 poster childs. Yeah. They were the posters on my wall as a kid. I thought, go on then, you've twisted my arm. And then when they said, we've got 2 to do, I thought, okay, let's do 2 then. But when I drove the first one, people always say, never drive your, childhood supercar cars, because they're a little bit rubbish. And I drove the Countach many years ago, and I thought, it was a bit rubbish. Nice, beautiful to look at. Everything else was. And the Testarossa, I thought, no, Ferrari can't have, got it bad as well. It must handle, and it was okay, but it wasn't great. I'd say I was a little bit disappointed with the Testarossa when I first drove it, but now. Oh my God, now this is how it should be. The performance is fantastic, the handling's great. We've sorted out all the negatives that it had beforehand, if you like. Got power steering on it, for instance. There's the fact there was already a power steering kit available for the Testarossa. Petrol tells you that it was a little bit heavy on the front end. So we put the wider tyres on as well, which would have increased the effort. So we got power steering, traction control, power. I've got the suspension settings here, so I've got a little touch screen down here for all the semi-active suspension settings that I need. So yeah, it's just a much nicer car to drive. And handling wise, I'm going to go into this roundabout a little bit hot, Jerome, so hold on. But now, you wouldn't normally be able to just do this.
Oh yeah, it corners flat. Yeah.
No tyre squeal,
Yeah.
nothing. And even though it's electric steering, power steering, you've still got a feel for the road. It's such a nice car to drive. I'm so, proud of the workshop and the team to have built such an awesome homage to the Ferrari name by converting this to electric. If we didn't make it better, it ain't worth doing.
Yeah. So what could be the next Ferrari? Would you consider a F40? Somebody would bring one?
Oh, that's
Like
controversial.
people would knock your door, at your door. Yeah.
See, I'm a car guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an EV evangelist. If somebody wants to drive a V8, great, drive a V8. I did rallying for 7 years. I mean, I love all cars. And a Ferrari F40, I don't know.
It's tricky, isn't it?
I think you'd lose too much of the Ferrari F40-ness if you converted that to electric. Testarossa, yeah, the flat 12 engine in this, actually it's a V12 in a flat configuration. It's not a fantastic engine. So everybody says, oh, the engine is the heart of a Ferrari. Not so sure in some instances, but the Ferrari F40, yeah, you're probably right there.
All right. So,
But I think the only other one that I'd really like to do Ferrari-wise, I mean, we've done 2 Ferrari 308s, which is the iconic Magnum PI car. I would really like to do a Dino.
Yes. Yeah.
I just love the shape of the Dino. Okay, some people say it's not a real Ferrari. Yes, it is. I just think it's a beautifully styled car, the shape of it and the curves. So, yeah, anybody out there want to do a Dino? I'm your man.
Have you looked into it? Have you scanned an engine bay to consider what could be done?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I do at car shows now. I look around and go, that can fit that there, the battery pack could go there. Turned into a bit of a saddle
Yeah.
like that.
So on this car again, you have a 3 battery pack configuration. Is 3 pack the maximum
It's
you would?
4.
It's 4.
Yeah, because you've got the front one there. We've got the 2 saddle ones here where the fuel tanks used to be, because it's 2 fuel tanks, and we've got the main one just behind us here. So it's actually
So
4.
that answers my question. Would you consider doing more? I know it's more tricky to do more battery packs, but it is.
What's the most we've done? So the biggest battery pack we've done so far is 170 kilowatt hours on the Land Rover Defender
That's
130. Yeah. But the thing is with the Land Rover Defender 130 is you can take the weight.
Yeah.
Because it's designed to take a huge amount of weight. I mean, this Ferrari is exactly the same weight as it was when it was petrol with the full tank of fuel, but it is no way you can put 170 kilowatt hour battery pack in it. It'd be too heavy. But the Defender 130 you can. And in that we had 1, 2, we only had 3 packs in there. There's a front one in the back seat and one in the rear. So this is probably, with 4 battery packs, the most that we've had distributed around the car.
Do you anticipate with CCS that as you develop more system, you may require smaller packs because people actually don't need 200 miles, or people still think they need
The
huge
thing
amount?
is, the energy density of batteries is improving.
Yeah.
When I started converting cars back in 2015, the energy density of batteries wasn't anywhere near where it is now. I mean, it's not gone on, in leaps and bounds, but it's progressively got better and better and better. When I started, for instance, I'm going to go for an overtake. You ready?
All right.
Now, just bear in mind that I had to do nothing but plant my foot. So, what I love about electric converted classics is the fact that if you want to drive it aggressively and on the limit, or near the limit, let's say, you can do it so precisely accurate with an electric conversion because you haven't got to drop down the gears, get the revs in the right place for the power curve to come on, etc. Then you're going around halfway around the corner, you think, I need to change up now, it's going to change the balance dynamics of the car. It's like precision surgery when you're driving a car like this that's been converted to electric, because the torque is so flat and the regen sets you up lovely coming into a corner, and then you just need to transition then to the accelerator, pick your apex, and you're away. So I think you can have as much fun, if not more fun, with a converted classic car to electric when you want to drive it to the limit. And I'm saying that as somebody that's done motorsport. I mean, you know, I'm not just saying that because we convert cars to electric. You know, I would push this more on the limit than I would if it was petrol.
Okay.
Because it's really accurate.
So more fun,
Oh,
more
definitely
power,
more fun.
more torque. It's quieter.
We're having a conversation without shouting. The thing is with the engine noise, right? I mean, you know, I've had, you know, a Porsche before with like open door autos, etc., roaring behind you, and it's great for about 10 minutes, and then you go, oh, if you go into classic Le Mans, for instance, you know, within about half an hour, I can guarantee you'll have your ear defenders on, and that's the only way you can talk to your passenger. So yeah, there's a roar with engines, but for me, it's the raw power of the electric. That's what gets me down. I always find with people holding cameras that the camera always goes like that whenever you put your foot down.
All right, Richard, thank you so much for this experience. Quite fantastic. Again, you future-proof the car. It handles better, drives better, brakes better, and so much torque and power. So.
And you say that from experience because you've driven a few Testarossas, you were saying.
Yes, yes. And as much as I love them, I must admit this is very tempting.
It is, yeah. Again, it goes back to that thing I was saying before. If we're not improving these cars, there's no point doing it. It's got to be faster. It's got to handle better. The brakes are got to be better. You know, with the fact that we put power steering in it means that you can use it practically and park it now. I mean, it's got to be better than the original thing. Otherwise, it's not worth bothering with.
Yeah. So you have partners in America, but are you going to offer this worldwide?
Yeah, I think what we'll do with the Testarossa kit, which is, again, I didn't think we'd ever do a Testarossa kit, but we have. If there's other Ferrari specialists out there or customers with Testarossas you want it converted to electric, have a chat with your local Testarossa specialist or Ferrari specialist, or if it's a workshop out there, get in contact because we've got a really good comprehensive bolt-in conversion kit which you know, is available right now. So anybody who wants to convert a Ferrari Testarossa, get in touch, electricclassiccars.com, and we'll speak to you soon.
And also, if you want to learn even more about the Testarossa and the process, what it took to convert this, make sure to check out their channel.
Yeah, we did a comprehensive series on the first Testarossa that we built, right the way from the start all the way to the finish. So, you know, knock yourselves out. There's hours of content on our YouTube channel about the first Testarossa that we converted.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much again, Richard. And guys, if you like what you saw today, make sure to give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon for even more crazy builds.